welcome to College Connection. My name is May Hanna and I'm your host, and this is a show about UC Claremont College and the fabulous things that are happening on campus and in our community. So I'd like to welcome Paige Beadham, who has been on the show before. So welcome back, Paige. She's our Associate Professor of Legal Studies at UC Claremont College.
Thank you.
Welcome back.
I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
So, and we also have Nancy Brooks, who is a legal studies student. And we're really happy to have you here, Nancy.
Thanks. I'm happy to be here too. Thank you.
So thank you for being here. So we are here to do an update on the paralegal program. There's always so much going on in that program. It's one of our most active programs on the UC Claremont College campus with the students and the professors. There always seems to be a lot of energy in that program, thanks to Paige and her colleagues and the students there who are super active. So Paige, why don't you give us an update? It's been a few years since you've been on the show, and tell us about what's going on campus and with the program and that sort of thing.
Absolutely. It is an exciting time for our program, for the paralegal profession in general. UC Claremont's paralegal program is approved by the American Bar Association. And what that means is that the American Bar Association has looked over our program and has been able to say, this program meets certain criteria. Only about a third of the programs in the United States are actually approved by the American Bar Association. So that's one of the things that we're extremely proud of for our program. Our program meets those criteria. We try to exceed all of those criteria as well. The program itself, we're excited. We offer two different levels of education. So we have an associate's degree program, and at the associate's level, that's a 2-year program for somebody who does not have a prior degree. So somebody coming directly out of high school, or somebody who is making a transition and says, you know, I did not go the college route the first time around, and I'd like to come back and go this route again. So we offer a 2-year associate's degree in paralegal studies. The second program that we offer is a post-baccalaureate certificate program. The post-bac certificate program is one that if you have an existing bachelor's degree, you can then come, and for a shortened period of time, it takes about 1 year to complete that program. You study just intensively on the legal classes. You don't have to take math again. You don't have to take your Englishes again. So there's none of that, which I know is sometimes a fear.
Yeah.
I understand that fear well. But it offers a nice transition. Many people who have studied, they have an English or a history major, or they're trying to figure out what job do I get with that? Many people start saying, okay, I can use some of the skills that I learned either in English or perhaps in history or any different area that they've studied in. And because the law affects every area of our lives, the paralegal program really does offer some sort of transferable connection with that. And with just that 1 year of additional study, the post-baccalaureate students are the ones who become the most marketable to our legal community then. So it's a very nice, two different offerings depending on your prior education, but we're able to offer that and service a full number of students from varying backgrounds.
Well, that's great. I mean, obviously every time I'm on the show, I always learn a little bit more about each of the programs we talk about. And for those who are watching and they think they know what paralegal means, can you just give us a simplistic definition of what that really means?
It's a great question, and it's one that we get a lot. If you can equate a paralegal to a nurse practitioner, that's one that many people understand at this point, saying, okay, it's a paraprofessional, and so this is a paralegal. A paralegal, by definition, under the American Bar Association, is somebody who, through their education, experience, does the work of an attorney that an attorney otherwise would be doing under the supervision of an attorney.
Okay.
The things that they absolutely cannot do is give legal advice. A paralegal can never give legal advice, and they cannot stand up in court to represent somebody.
Okay.
But many of the other things that an attorney typically would be doing, like drafting complaints, pleadings, things like that, the paralegal is going to be doing that. The paralegal has a lot of client contact, and that's one of the things that you know, such a number of backgrounds really transfer to this. If you have a customer service background, perfect. You know, that's being able to deal with clients and understand that. You know, accounting backgrounds, computer backgrounds are a great area right now for the paralegal profession as as everything that we have is digitized, that's creating a whole new set of issues in the legal world as well. So just so many backgrounds are very transferable that paralegal then comes in working under the supervision of the attorney, really aids the attorney and is that the attorney's right-hand person. So if you think of it as a nurse practitioner, that's a pretty good analogy for what a paralegal does.
Okay, well that's very helpful. So obviously this was something, Nancy, that interests you, and you came back to college to do this. Tell us a little bit about your journey to UC Claremont College.
Well, I chose Claremont because of the paralegal program that it has, and part of that is because I wanted an associate degree. Like Professor Beadham had said, was that the associate degree is a great program, just 2 years for people who don't have previous college or don't have a degree, and so I fit in right there. I wanted something that would be that I could get marketable skills in just 2 years. As an adult learner, I didn't feel like I have 4 years to invest in that.
Right.
And another reason that I chose paralegal is because of the outlook. It has a great outlook for future jobs. I also wanted something that I could use my current skill set in. I've been an editor for 15 years.
That's amazing.
And thank you. And so I have quite an investment in that, and I've developed many skills over the years. And I think that in terms of drafting documents and things like that, those would be very valuable skills to bring into paralegal, and I didn't want to just completely start from scratch and abandon my past career that I've really had, but I wanted to move forward from there.
That's great.
And there's also many, even after an associate degree, a paralegal can still go on and get other degrees. There's a bachelor's degree available. If a person chose to go to law school, not me, but if a person chose to go on to law school, they could certainly do that. There's also certifications in different paralegal associations. So there's a lot that can happen even after. It's not something that stops with an associate degree.
That's great. I know that a lot of our students that come back that are quote-unquote non-traditional, like you, that aren't coming right from high school to college, they sort of get nervous that they come into this setting, that they're going to be the only ones. I bet that you can assure people in the audience that you're not the only one that looks like you in the classroom.
Not at all. Not at all. But that was one of my fears, was, you know, being the oldest student in the room. And but there's I think more people that are toward my age than there are right out of high school. But that's another thing that I love about UC Claremont. I love the small campus, and it's kind of got a community feel. And I don't feel like anybody looks at me and thinks, you know, is that a professor? That can't be a student.
You know, May, that's one of the things with our program. We really do run probably 50-50. And it varies, fluctuates a little bit, but between non-traditional and traditional students. And we really try to service our non-traditional students or people who are already working. We have a day program as well as a night program so that you can go day or night. And it really helps facilitate that so that if somebody is thinking about it and does have a day job, they can come and do that as well. If I can follow up to something that Nancy said, she looked at the job outlook. The Department of Labor has given a double-digit projection in growth for the last 10 years for paralegals. When the economy kind of tanked in 2008, they laid off many, many attorneys. And what's happening is because as the profession has grown, they've started to come back and backfill these positions with paralegals instead. It's a more efficient way of running a law office, and they're doing high quality, good work through education. And so that's why we see such incredible job outlook growth for our program. So
well, that's fantastic.
It's exciting.
So you have a spring social that you have every year, and that's coming up on April 2nd. And I know you wanted to come out on the show and talk a little bit about that because you sort of cast a wide net, inviting a lot of folks to this. So talk a little bit about that.
Absolutely. This is about our 5th year to host a Spring Social. And our Spring Social is an event where we invite paralegals, practicing paralegals, attorneys, the community, our student, and all of our alumni to come back to our campus. And it's a 2-hour event. It's on April the 2nd from 5:30 to 7:30. The first hour is a networking event, and so we all get to catch up and talk. There's food and drinks and really just being able to mingle and reconnect with everybody. The second hour is a continuing legal education event. It's 1 free hour of continuing legal education. Attorneys and certified paralegals are required to do that. And so you, as professionals, you get this free hour of continuing legal education. We're excited this year in particular. We've got 2 speakers coming in, Ann Wittenauer and Randy Freaking from Freaking and Betts. And they've started a great new project called the Workers' Rights Project in Cincinnati. It's one that I think the community is going to be very interested in. Anybody who has an employment issue, the Workers' Rights Project really services the lower income side of employment issues. And that's huge for our community. So anybody who's interested in, from the community even learning about that, we welcome all of them to come. We've got information. You can call the college just generally to register for the event, or just come. We're happy to have you. But it's a very exciting event. It's a nice event that we've had, like I said, for the last 5 years. It's just a nice way to connect. Nancy's been working very hard on the committee, making sure that all the information gets out as well.
Great. That's great. And it's a nice segue for our next segment, because Ann will be on here to talk with you a little bit about that project, and we can sort of talk a little bit more about that.
Absolutely.
So you also have an open house on April 11th, and that's for folks like Nancy that are interested in coming into the program. And so tell the viewers a little bit about that.
Absolutely. Saturday, April 11th from 9 until 12, we have an open house. Now, the open house is really an information session. So if any of this interests you, or you think, well, I don't know, maybe I need to find out a little bit more about this, please come to that. This is an opportunity that anybody who's interested in the program or in the profession, will have practicing paralegals there, we'll have alumni there, I'll be there, our admissions people will be there. If you choose that day and say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to take this chance, we can get you registered that day for your summer classes and get started right away. We're also waiving, the college has agreed to waive the admission fee, so it saves you a little bit of money too. But I really strongly encourage anybody who is interested to come out, April the 11th. We've got a lot of activities going on campus that day, and so that's another great way to find out more information about our paralegal program and the paralegal profession.
Well, that's fantastic. Nancy and Paige, I told you this time would go by really fast, and it already has gone by. So I really appreciate you coming out and sharing with us your perspective on the paralegal program. I know a lot of viewers appreciate knowing how people get to a certain place, and that's really important. And Paige, it's always great to have you on, and you're going to be sticking around for the next segment. Thank you both for being here.
Thank you for having us.
And we hope that you'll stick around, because we have, as promised, another segment, and we'll be right back. Hi, welcome back to College Connection. My name is May Hanna, and Paige Beadham stayed with us from the earlier segment. She's our Associate Professor of Legal Studies, so thank you for sticking around.
Thank you.
And we'd like to welcome our new guest, Ann Wittenauer, the Executive Director and Legal Director of Cincinnati Workers' Rights Project. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate this.
So this is so exciting. We were talking during the break about the collaboration that you are doing with Paige's class and the UC Claremont College students. And so I'm so impressed by what you all are doing. So can you share with us how this came about?
Well, Paige actually knows the president of the project's board, who's Randy Freaking, and they kind of talked, I guess, a little bit, and then I kind of got in on the act. been passing emails back and forth, meeting with Paige, and she's been very excited about the project, which I am so grateful for. There's so much, it's a startup obviously, and there's so much work to be done to get the word out and to set things up, and to have the help of UC Claremont is amazing.
So tell us about the project. What is the project? What is it about? How did it come to be?
Well, the project's designed to try to serve low-wage workers who have been terminated from their employment and have questions about whether their termination was legal, whether their termination was right, and what next steps they should take to kind of navigate those waters of unemployment. And so there's a lot of gaps in the services available to lower wage workers, sort of because of the way the law is set up and the way plaintiffs' employment lawyers have to structure their practice. It's not, for a lot of private plaintiffs' attorneys, it's not sustainable to offer a lot of services to lower wage workers, because any recovery available to a lower wage worker is usually based fairly significantly on back wages. And so the awards that might come with pursuing a case of an illegal termination, just they're kind of low rewards. And a private plaintiff's attorney is not going to be able to sustain a practice by serving a whole lot of lower wage workers. So they've been falling through the cracks for very, very many years. And a couple of heavy hitters, I like to call them in the employment law field, have really had this dream for a very long time of setting up something to help folks like this that really have faced something illegal or unfair and have nowhere else to turn. And so this is what they've this is the dream they've had for a very long time, and it just came to a point where it was time to do it, to try to get it set off. And I was asked to head the project, and so it's been around for about 4 or 5 months so far.
Oh, wow.
So we're very new still.
Okay.
But very exciting ideas and plans and things in the works.
That's fantastic. So Paige, how did you get interested, and how did you sort of tie UC Claremont College to this project?
Sure. I think it's how I became involved is a testament to the people who created this. Randy Freaking, who of Freaking and Betts, and I were at a HONC, Housing Opportunities of Northern Kentucky volunteer project, and he started talking about this. And to his credit, Randy Freaking said, "Hey, I want to do this. I'm starting a nonprofit to help people." And I said, "That's awesome. How can I help you?" And we started talking about this, and I said, "I have this whole group of students who are studying to do these things. Let me help you. Let us get involved." And it's just a perfect synergy between UC Claremont, who our paralegal program, we're teaching paralegals, but we also really teach, and it's part of the legal profession, to give back. Giving back, the legal portion of giving back, attorneys do it regularly, and this project is a prime example of that. So it's a great way for us to teach our students to be able to help to continue on to volunteer. And so we said, hey, we have an employment law class, so our employment law students will be writing blog content that they'll be able to use on their website, with Anne's supervision, of course. She will definitely be vetting that. Then some of our law office technology students are going to be working on brochures and forms and digitizing different things for them to really help with the computer side of things. So it's just a fabulous opportunity to help give back and learn at the same time.
That's fantastic. And right before the segment started, you have Jessie Worth here, who's your intern, who's also a UC Claremont student.
Yes.
And so
she's been invaluable.
That's fantastic.
My skill set has been, for the longest time, a writing skill set, where I've done a lot of deep kind of research-based work. I'm not really good with the technology. So somebody coming in and helping me figure out, what the best programs are and how to get things organized and how to sort of keep up with the practice and making sure that balls don't get dropped has been amazing. It's been so helpful.
And that's part of our program. We have a practicum class where students have to work in a law setting for 200 hours. And so that's been a great way to put somebody in there to help out with us as well.
Yeah.
Wow, that's great. And you're based downtown?
Based downtown. We're right across from Fountain Square.
Okay.
So, and I think I was saying in the break, I also do a lot of telephone work, so I don't want people to feel like it's unavailable because it's downtown. We're trying to keep as many barriers away from between the service and the people that need it. So I do a lot of talking to people on telephones and kind of helping them through that process.
And what are some of the illegal reasons for terminating an employee, like some of the things that you face every day?
Well, it is against the law to terminate somebody on the basis of race, color, gender. I'm ticking them off so I remember them. Gender, religion, national origin, age, or disability. It's also illegal to terminate somebody who has been complained that they might have faced discrimination on one of those bases. And it's also illegal to terminate somebody who has complained about safety issues in the workplace, things like that. And there are also some laws that protect certain employees who have to take leave to care for a child or a mother, a brother, or sister. And I like to say that sometimes these things are illegal, but we all know it doesn't necessarily mean it doesn't happen. So if somebody feels like that might have happened and they're a lower wage worker, I encourage them to call and talk to me and work through it.
And who are your clientele? How do you serve them, or what's the profile? There's probably a threshold.
Right now, yes, we try to focus on folks that have made less than $40,000 a year or less than $20 an hour in their employment, in their previous employment. You have to set a threshold somewhere.
Sure, of course.
And things are a little bit in flux since it's a new organization, and policies may change as we move along. But right now, that's sort of where our cutoff is.
Okay. And you're going to be coming with your associate to the open house or the
Spring Social.
Yeah.
And you're going to be offering some information or teaching.
Right.
So tell us about that, or either one of you.
Well, I think we're going to just talk to at the CLE just a little bit of a background on employment law and what some of the barriers are to low-wage workers. I'm going to talk about the project, obviously, and how that sort of hopefully fills that need, and kind of some of the projects that we have planned. So I think that's about it.
That'll be great. And Paige, you were talking in the earlier segment that this is on April 2nd.
Right. It's part of our Spring Social. UC Claremont, the paralegal program, hosts a Spring Social. It'll be April the 2nd from 5:30 to 7:30. The 5:30 to 6:30 hour is a networking hour, and then the 6:30 to 7:30 hour is a continuing legal education hour, which is what Ann is describing. And it's really educational, and it would be a great opportunity for somebody who thinks, maybe I do have this issue, to learn a little bit more about employment law and the services that Ann and the Cincinnati Workers' Rights Project is offering.
That's fantastic. And it's free.
Absolutely free, as are her services, by the way, too. And so,
right.
The way that this is handled, it is a nonprofit, and so it really is there to serve the community.
So if our viewers are watching and they're thinking, gosh, I'm retired and I have a background in law, or I would have something to offer, are you looking for volunteers? Are you looking for this kind of thing?
I'll take all the help I can get.
I figured you'd say that.
Yeah.
So is there anything in particular you're looking for? It's a good time to cast that net.
Well, I think especially attorneys who are willing to volunteer some time to start taking these calls, I think is our as the word gets out, I suspect that our call volume is going to start increasing
I'm sure.
exponentially. Folks that are willing to spread the word for us. We are a nonprofit, so donations, we're working on getting our nonprofit status put together, and so donations are, of course, funding is a big thing that we always, any nonprofit can use help with, and some of the background stuff, accounting work, that kind of numbers. That's something I'm great with. So.
Well, that sounds great. It
yeah.
sounds like you have a need, and hopefully some of the folks in the community will step in and offer, because it sounds like a great project, obviously. Paige, what are some of the blogging topics that the students are working on?
Sure. Our employment law class, one of the classes that we offer as part of our program, covers just the wide variety of different employment issues. And so obviously the discrimination issues would be some of that. But they're really writing just informative articles, obviously not giving any type of advice or anything like that. That's not what it's meant to be. But also directing people to places where they might find more information, but really just informative articles. And in short bits, they're blogs, and so that's really what we're looking for.
That's great. Yeah. And we're running out of time, but as far as relief goes, what sort of relief is available to some of the folks that have, met with this sort of thing?
Well, what I like to say that the law tries to make people whole when there's an illegal termination, and so normally you think about that as back pay. From the time of a termination until the time that an employee can get a new job, or what's called front pay is sometimes available if an employee is older and may have a hard time finding a new job. But it's based very much on pay, which is why low-wage workers have a harder time finding plaintiffs' attorneys.
Sure.
Because it's so focused on that.
Yeah. Well, that makes all the sense in the world.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like a wonderful project that you're undertaking, and I'm really happy to hear about the collaboration and efforts. I think it's a really nice fit with our college and our students. So Anne and Paige, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate your time, and best wishes on this project.
Thank you very much.
So, and we thank you for tuning in, and on behalf of UC Claremont College and our partners at Anderson Community Television, we thank you, and we hope that you'll check in next time.